my journey into this world of lactation started when my oldest daughter was born 23 years ago. I was breastfeeding her as I knew that I would, but I was having a lot of trouble. And so when I had trouble, the first people that I went to was my mom and my grandma, who was still alive at the time, but my mom, because I knew I knew she breastfed. I knew it. I'm her daughter, but I watched her breastfeed my brothers, and my grandmother breastfed all her kids. So when I had my daughter, I went to my mom, and she helped me the best way she could. But the way that she was helping me, wasn't really helping me get over the problems I was having, which was sore nipples. And so, out of the blue, one day, someone I had met at my hospital birthing class, I bumped into on the street, and she said, "There's a La Leche League meeting down the street from your house." I had no idea what La Leche League was, but she said, "Okay, it's a breastfeeding meeting." She encouraged me to come with her, and so I did. And she and I our daughters were both about 6 weeks old, went down to the meeting, and it was the first time I had gotten out of the house in 6 weeks since I had my daughter, which was it's a big thing the first time you do that with your first child. And then coming into this house, just 2 blocks from my house, was a room full of women, all with babies, who were sitting there breastfeeding. And it was like, I walked into another universe. I suddenly realized that I was not alone. I was not the only woman sitting in her home trying to breastfeed, maybe struggling, that there was lots of other people out here doing this. And so that's actually how my journey started. After being poked and prodded to continue to come to the meetings by the leader of the meeting, she would have these meetings monthly. And, it's hard to get out of the house with a new baby. I had an unplanned C-section with my oldest daughter, and so it was hard to get around and whatnot. And I think I had a little depression, postpartum depression, possibly because of my surgery that I really wasn't expecting, and just new motherhood in general. So she would poke and prod me to come down to her meeting monthly. She'd call me up and say, "Hey, why don't you come down?" And I would drag myself out of bed and come. And then I started liking it. I started finding some camaraderie there. And by the time my daughter was about 4 months old, the leader was asking me to be a leader. She was really smart because she could tell I was overwhelmed when she suggested I become a leader. And she started saying, "Well, how about we just start hosting these meetings at your house?" By hosting the meetings, what another interesting thing happened was that these meetings, they were still her meetings, but these meetings that had once been all white, suddenly, when they were at my house, they became a little bit more colorful. They became a little bit more integrated. And then suddenly, there was very few white women coming. It was majority women of color and a few white women coming, but I would consider it a really nice integrated group. And that was really interesting. And there was just so many things that happened out of that experience.